remember it was so hot up on the third floor, and about 2 hours later, anyways, it was $350. That's what I meant when I said, what did the plumber say? I want the bare minimum. The facts that I import to me is, this is how much it's going to cost. For her, she connects information with her parents, where she lives, with her friends, and the one house, because it's all emotional connections that she makes. So we have to understand. So when we ask our wives for that kind of information, please just get to the bottom. Now, if I want to know more, then I'll say, well, what else did he say? But if not, then get to the bottom of the problem. In fact, here's a comparison. Two men sitting in a gym. One says to the other, hey, did you hear Jim's getting a divorce? No. Hey, are you watching the wrestling tonight, by the way? That's it. Move on to the next. Two women sitting at the gym. Hey, did you hear Mary's getting a divorce? No. What happened? And then you go with the whole story. It's a difference because we don't connect emotionally at that level. We just want to have basic information.
And this whole idea of the differences in communication between men and women, it's really interesting because women can even read body language much better than men. I mean, Donna and Glenn, Pastor Donna and Glenn will tell you, when they go together on a pastoral visit, they pick up completely different things. Donna will pick up some things that Pastor Glenn never noticed. And, you know, the same thing with Claudia and I. And I think it's neat how God made us that way. God made us to enhance each other. He picks up things in conversations or at events that I don't pick up. But I'm good at picking up all the details, all the little things, the nuances, the body languages, the things that are not said. The things that are not said are often the ones that speak the loudest. So this whole idea of communication, we need to understand and not get frustrated and just realize she's just being a woman or he's just being a man.
Look at this quote from Les and Leslie Farrar. Men focus most of their communication on report talk. In other words, gathering information, while women focus on rapport talk, building camaraderie. You know, how can we get to know each other and become a unit or build a bridge between the two of us? Well, by sharing a lot of communication. We men say our need is for, let me get the facts, the things that are important. In fact, there's a joke out there that says, what is the definition of eternity? Two women saying goodbye. And that's because, again, just when you get to the end of the conversation, you say, by the way, say hi to Mary. Oh, by the way, did I tell you about Mary? And so the conversation starts again. And okay, I gotta go because I've got to meet with Steve. Hey, how's Steve doing? Oh, and then conversations, because you connect at that level, as opposed to just the fact. Two men will say, take it easy, we'll say you bye. I'll skip a couple of these here and get to the next need.
The next need for most women, and we've talked a little bit about this, is this whole idea of honesty and openness. I need to be able to trust that my husband is where he says he's going to be. Now, this whole idea is one that Satan, I think, has really played with a lot. And Satan has used this issue to destroy so many homes. If I think about the difference just within a generation, the difference between, you know, my parents and their marriage and the ways they could keep their marriage healthy, the difference in my grandparents and things they had to do. Think about what we have today with the computer. When my grandfather needed to have or was in an inappropriate relationship with my grandmother, he had to leave the house to have an affair, an inappropriate relationship. But think about it today. I cannot tell you, we hear all the time and deal with couples all the time that they're having inappropriate relationships in their own home via the computer, via their cell phone, via their iPad. Because once again, they can be talking to a person of the opposite sex all the time, sitting there on the computer or with their phone, and you think they're doing Do you really know what they're doing? So when we talk about pornography today is not, I have to go buy a Playboy magazine. That's not what pornography looks like today. Pornography looks like your computer screen staring back at you. Or sexting. This whole idea of sexting. I mean, just within the past couple months, think about all of our people that we trust in office and what they have done with sexting, with texting, with inappropriate pictures. How many? It seems like, boy, as soon as I hear about one, the next day I'm hearing about another. It makes me wonder how many people really have been honest, how many are honest today that are honest in the past, that technology just didn't catch them. You know, so this whole idea of honesty and openness, it's gone to a new level today. Satan has taken it to a new level with social media. Revealing positive and negative feelings, events of the past, daily events, schedules, plans for the future, not leaving with a false impression, and answering your questions truthfully.
Some studies done by Christianity Today and others reveal that about 30% of men have reported watching inappropriate sexual content in their computers within the last week from the time of the study. And apparently they say that that is replicated in the church, which is to say, and this is not for you to be looking at each other or wondering who may be, but potentially 30% of the men here have watched inappropriate pornographic materials in the last week. And we could say, well, that's horrible, that's sinful, I can't believe that's happening. Well, remember again how God wired us. For men, it is very attractive to look at women. Here's the problem, one of the many problems. The more pornography you watch, the less satisfied you'll be in your relationship, because no matter how good, how beautiful your wife is, she will never be able to compete to all those women that you're watching. So therefore, you're probably going to be asking her to do more things that you'll see others doing to try to replicate what you see them doing. In fact, we heard of a man who, in order for him to have sex with his wife, he has to have a magazine on the bed open next to his wife's head. So that's how some of the limits or some of the things that people eventually get to. However, for you ladies, you can't escape that, because even though most women are not attracted to pornography, they are attracted to novels, to fantasy novels. For instance, what was the #1 seller last year? 50 Shades of Grey. You know who bought most of those books? Women. The same thing happens with women. Your men, as good, as romantic, as kind as he may be, will never compare to the man that they read on the books. So therefore, while the men have to watch the wife performs and hopefully think that they will eventually perform like this women are thinking, oh, I hope my husband will get to be like this man, and it will never happen. It's fantasy. In fact, there's I'm trying to remember the name of the author, but there's a book called The Fantasy Fallacy, and it's basically looking at the whole phenomenon of the 50 Shades of Grey, the fantasy fallacy. And so, again, while men may be attracted visually, women let their imagination wander. And how many of our girls even are reading that garbage, 50 Shades of Grey? You know, I was interested in, because everybody was talking about it, I said, well, let me see what the reviews say. And one of the reviews that I read on Amazon says, this looks like someone written by a 16-year-old because of how preposterous it is. And then, of course, for what I didn't buy it, but for what they're telling me or what the review says, the same words are repeating over and over, usually a 4-letter word that starts with the letter F, repeated over and over and over again. For what I understood, again, some guy that's like 20 years old and it's a multi-billionaire, what kind of world of fantasy is that? And how can your husband, who makes $40,000 or $60,000 a year, compete with that multi-billionaire? You see what we're getting to? we're never satisfied with our relationship because somebody else has it better than I do.
So there, even when it comes to, if there is anyone here, anyone that's struggling with this area and with the social media, I would just tell you, Claudia and I, we have each other's passwords. We know the passwords. I can grab his phone right now and I know his code to put in to read all of his text messages. Not that I need to. But there again, why should I hide it? I have no problem with him knowing, how to get into my phone, how to get in my email account. There's just no reason for me to hide that information. We have had some couples that are struggling in this area, and what we have shared with them is you either have to completely give up your cell phone and all media accounts, or you have to make yourself accountable. There's some easy software now that we could get, if I needed to just install the software on my husband's computer, and anytime if he were to go to an inappropriate site, I would get an email alerting me to that. So there is some software available. There's also a really good resource in Pastor Don and Glenn. I don't know if this is in the church library, but it would be really good to have it if it's not. It's called Freedom Begins Here. And Advent Source sells it. It is the resource that we recommend if anyone is dealing with pornography. And what is so nice about it is that you can take it to the privacy of your home or the privacy of your own computer and go through the program. So it's not intimidating. It's not like you have to go to a group setting, because reality is if we have seminars on pornography, people won't come because of the stigma. They don't, even if they're dealing with it, they don't want to go to a group.
Just put it this way, when you have a seminar on couples, how many come? I mean, we applaud you for coming, because there are many who are saying, well, I don't want to go there because then people will think that we're having marital problems. But you're not here because you have marital problems. You're here because you want to learn more about your relationship. You see, and so if we had a seminar on pornography, people would say, well, I don't use pornography, I don't watch that, but if I go there, they're going to say I do. Now, we heard of a church where they actually divided into groups, and one elder of the church was assigned to each one of those groups, so that automatically someone would be there no matter what, basically to say it's a safe place to come, whether you use it or not. But if not, again, if the church were to purchase it, then maybe you can at least borrow it. You can buy it. It's only, I think it's only like $45 for the whole set. Comes with DVDs, devotional materials, etc. So maybe a good resource for you to purchase.
Or if any of you have a men's group, I know there are several different churches and organizations represented right here in this room. So if you have a men's group as your church, this may be a really good program that you want to look into. Once again, Freedom Begins Here.
Now here, I'm going to tell you, ladies, something that I think you need to listen to. Because this is, honesty and openness is so important to you. You're going to have to make a decision. Because I think sometimes you ladies train your husbands to be dishonest. Would you like me to give you an example? Do I look fat in this dress? Now, when you ask that question, do you really want to know an honest answer, or do you just want him to tell you what you want to hear? Because if you want to hear, no, absolutely not, you don't look bad at all, you look wonderful, but maybe he's thinking, that dress might be a little too tight, but I don't want to tell her. Because if I said to her, well, you don't love her. Next time you say, do I look fat in this dress, he's not going to tell you the truth. So you have to choose, do you want him to be honest? Or do you want him to tell you what you want to hear? Now to you, man, what I say is, be honest, but don't be brutally honest.
And this is the question we have in the basket on this topic.
Don't be rude. So if your husband says, do I look fat in this dress? You don't say, oh my Lord, where did you buy that thing? That's not being honest. That's being rude. That's being unkind. And I don't think that's what you need to do to help your relationship either. In fact, I think I have a well-known commercial. Well, let me see if we get there. Matthew 5, chapter 5, verse 37 says, "But let your yes be yes and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the devil." I'm going to skip this and then get to a commercial here that I think you probably have seen. I think it's right here.
The switching got to go to saving 15% or more on guaranteed. They can make it honest.
Go, 15 minutes.
So even Honest Abe had a little difficulty there. You know, if he even mentioned the possibility that maybe she already took off. Again, you have to decide, do I want my husband to be honest with me all the time? Or do I only want him to be honest sometimes, but then I won't know when he's being honest? But to you guys, be honest, but be kind. Don't be brutally honest.
The next most important need for most women is financial support. Provision of the financial resources to house, feed, and clothe your family at a standard of living acceptable to you, but avoiding travel and working hours that are unacceptable. There again, as with all things we've talked about this weekend, we're talking about modesty. We're not talking about, as a woman, I need my husband to work 3 jobs so that I can live in the most expensive house in the neighborhood and I can wear the most expensive clothes and expensive shoes. No. What we're talking about here is that most women want to have the security of knowing that there's food on the table for my kids and my kids are going to have warm clothes to wear in the winter. You see, we're talking about the basic financial needs being met. For most women, they will tell you, this is important to me. That I don't have to worry about not having a place to live. I don't have to worry about my kids going hungry or not having what they need for school.
So again, provision for the financial resources to house, feed, and clothe your family at a standard of living acceptable to you, but avoiding travel and working hours that are unacceptable to you. I emphasize what Pam said. Doesn't mean that you have to work overtime, have 2 jobs in order to provide for your family the best, the latest, the newest gadget. I was in Belize, Central America with my daughter when she was at Highland View Academy. We went there for a mission trip. And I remember the day that we turned the corner with the school bus that was driving the kids and us around, and there were 2 little boys on the side of the street playing with sticks. And the academy kids in the bus were going, "Oh, look at those poor kids. All they have is 2 sticks." I said, you know what? I bet you those kids are happier than 90% of the kids in the United States who have a closet full of toys and then would go to their parents and say, "I don't have anything to play with. I'm bored." So when your kids say, "I'm bored," what do you have to do? That's what Toys R Us are for. That's what Toys R Us is for. That's what Best Buy is for. Go buy them another new gadget so that they can be happy, so that they can have something to do. I guarantee you, you'll buy it and within a few days you're already saying, "I'm bored. I've got nothing to do." Those are not sticks. Those are planes. And those tomorrow will be swords. And the next day they will be cars, and they will be whatever your imagination let them be. Don't necessarily buy for your kids everything they want you to get. I know your kids will tell you, all my friends have the latest PlayStation, and I'm the only one who doesn't have it. And you are the type of parents who are keeping me from being happy, like all my friends. Don't fall into that temptation to do for them all the time whatever they want you to do. In fact, one of the things we tell parents is the value of delayed gratification. You want that new PlayStation? Be happy to help you get it. If you start saving, when you get to 80% of the amount, I'll contribute the next 20 or the next 10%. But not until then. I'm not going to give you the first 10 or 20% up front. When you save enough money, and you are at the point where all you need is the last little help, I'll help you. You know, almost guaranteed that if they save that money, by the time they have enough money, they'll probably would have changed their mind to begin with. They probably don't even want what they've been saving money for, and maybe they'll use it for something else. That's delayed gratification. You know, when we work, that's what happens. We work and eventually get the check. I think most of us do that. I don't know places where they pay you first and they do the work for what you got paid. So you're actually teaching your kids the same thing. So don't just simply give them whatever they want immediately.
And I just want to add one thing to that. It is really important for our children to see us as parents and as role models, not buying everything we want, but waiting. There's some fantastic research just out. In fact, I just finished an article for the Review magazine on this. Some fantastic research. If you want to Google the marshmallow test and read this research, they took small children, 2 and 3 years old, and they put them in a room with the researcher, and the researcher said to them, here's a marshmallow. If you want, you can eat this marshmallow right now. But if you wait, I'll go get another one, and when I come back, you can have 2 if you wait. And it's fascinating research because what they found out, the children who went ahead and could not wait for gratification ate the marshmallow. They followed these kids through life. The kids who waited, their academic achievement was off the charts compared to the children who wanted it right now and couldn't wait. It's fantastic research with a lot of implications. So it really is important that we teach our children, when we talk about the whole idea of financial commitment and healthy financial principles, it's really important that we teach our children to wait, to save, wait for something they want. And the last one, most important need for most women, is family commitment. Scheduling sufficient time and energy for the moral and educational development of your children. My background is as an Adventist educator. Until we came to the division office, my whole life has been as a teacher, a principal, and a superintendent of schools. I can tell you as an educator, more often than not, the parent that was the most involved in the educational development of the child was the mother. It was very rare when I would have parent-teacher conferences in my school to see both parents come. But yet it was truly a treat when the father came. So as we're talking about this, I mean, this is an entire seminar. We could do an entire day talking to you about the importance of fathers being involved in the life of their child and the academic development of their child. There's also some research about the difference it makes when you read to a child. Now, I know it wasn't surprising to me that reading to a child every day made a big difference in their development of literacy. Literacy is the #1 predictor of academic success in a child. So it's not surprising that reading to the child every day from the time they're born really predicts their academic success. Here's the part that surprised me. There's a huge difference when the father read to the child versus the mother. And I just thought, wow, how incredible that difference in the academic achievement when the child grew up from birth with daddy, hearing daddy's voice read to them. And I started thinking about that and the scriptural principle that our fathers should be the priests of the home. And I thought, wow, God had it right all along. Because what a wonderful opportunity that is for the father to combine those two things.
Amen.
For the father to read to their child every day the Bible stories from Scripture, their Sabbath school lesson. And by doing that, you have combined two things. You are taking on the role of priest of your home, the spiritual leader of your home, but you're also helping to assure the academic success of your child. So once again, as we talk about that one, we just can't emphasize that enough, fathers, for you to be involved in the spiritual and academic, emotional, physical, in every aspect of the development of your child. Raising a child should not be the primary responsibility of the mother. It should be a joint effort between father and mother.
Now, we'll tell you this, and we need you to pay attention carefully, because the most important thing you can do for your child is to love your spouse. If you don't take care of your relationship, your children are going to suffer. That's why we encourage you to take time away from the kids to enrich and to strengthen your relationship as husband and wife. It is not a sin to leave your kids with somebody else so that you can spend time together building your relationship. So we're going to give you a time formula that we suggest. We've used it with many couples to encourage you to spend time by yourselves. No kids, no cell phones, no telephones, no television, no computers, no friends, just the two of you. It's not to go shopping, it's not to do the chores, just the two of you communicating. Spend at least 30 minutes each day, at least one day or one night each week, I should say, at least one day each month, and at least one weekend each quarter. Again, just the two of you. You need to be intentional about your relationship. If you don't have a strong relationship, your children will pay. I know that you'll say, well, the kids need our attention. Of course they do. But many couples have neglected their relationship to the detriment of their own families. So don't abandon your spouse to take care of your kids. Be intentional about taking care of each other. And again, here's some boundaries for that dating time. Don't make it a problem discussion time. Don't make it a money discussion time. Don't make errands. Don't go on errands together during that time, because that is not a way to get to know each other. And if you're going to do some shopping, limit it. You know, when we lived in Minnesota, there was the Mall of America. You could spend hours, in fact days, going from store to store. Well, maybe you can make one of your dates walking around, as long as you're spending time together. But if you're actually going shopping, you're not spending time together. So those are some of the boundaries that you have to keep in mind. No problem discussion, no money discussion, no errands, and limit your shopping. So now that you have a list of the 10 most important emotional needs for men and women, what you need to do is similar to what we told you last night. Identify and rank the top 5 emotional needs for yourself. So you look at the whole list and choose the 5 that are most important to you. And secondly, share the results with each other. And by sharing, we don't mean that you give that list to your spouse and you say, these are my needs, meet them. Rather more like, I would like to know your needs so that I can meet them. The needs are ranked as 1 or 2 should get very special attention, and so then agree to meet your spouse's emotional needs. And if you don't have that list already, just
So there again, we said, remember, men, you may find some from the women's list we talked about, and vice versa, that's fine. Look at all 10, and you decide what is your most important need.
all right.
Can you put it back so I can take a picture of it?
Of this list, right? You want me to stand next to it? Did you have the list there with your...
Yeah, I think it should be in your, as you were taking notes, you should have all 10 now, but.
So remember these words from Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Don't act out of selfish ambition or be conceited. Instead, humbly think of others as being better than yourselves. Don't be concerned only about your own interests, but also be concerned about the interests of others. So we're going to take a break for lunch. It's a little after 12:30. Yes.
Could you go back to that where it lists the time formula? Could you at least leave it on?
Where I will
Go with the
Time formula.
I'll put it back. So we're going to take a break until about 1:30. I don't know how long it will take for people to get the food set up. If we're not done by 1:30, we'll just take a little longer. That's fine. But let's plan to be back and done by about 1:30. And again, if they have to clean out, if we're not completely done, well, we can wait a little while. But let's plan for 1:30, and that way we can continue with what we have for this afternoon. So I'm going to put that 9:45.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's bow our heads and have prayer for the meal, and that way when it's time, we can just simply share it. Blessed God, we thank you for the time we've spent together on the morning hours of the Sabbath. Thank you for bringing us here alive and well, and for providing for us a cool place where we can meet, and the tables and the food. And in a special way, we thank you for the food that's been prepared, and ask you to bless it. May it give us the energy, the nutrition that we need for the rest of the Sabbath, and especially as we continue with the seminar this afternoon. And bless the hands that kindly prepared it, that they may also receive great blessings from you for their love and kindness toward us, I pray in Jesus' name.
What we're going to do is we're going to start with the salad, and then the main course will be coming out in a little bit.
Where? Here? That's what we should do. Yeah, do you have kids?
At 8-year-olds, it's difficult. I take her everywhere. Every vacation, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try. So many people have said so.
It's nice that a lot of
Just beg her.
That's true.
My son is Academy. My daughter's Friday. My husband and my daughter. She's in school. The day. Man, what happened is this summer. So yesterday was the first time that we went out. And after all the summer, that was the first Friday. It's just so hard. Okay, you're welcome. Now, 5.
about clothes to change.
Not now. 1:30. 1:30.
Later on, you'll see.
Great. Blessings to you.